Thank you.
This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. This is the May 22nd, 2024 meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. This meeting is being operated as a hybrid format under Chapter 22 of the Acts of 2022. The public can join the meeting remotely by dialing on their telephone 408-650-3123. That is 408-650-3123, and then using access code 942-845-549. Or you can join via computer at global.gotomeeting.com/join/942-845-549. So materials for tonight's meeting are available on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along also using our posted agenda for tonight's meeting. My name is Michael Garland. I'm chairman of the Conservation Commission, and before we begin, let me confirm that our members are present. Tom Fallon?
Here.
Michelle Colross? Here. Megan Langley?
Here.
All right, we do have a quorum. Jesse Averka?
Here.
All right. Please also note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. So if you intend to speak this evening, when we call your matter, please identify yourself by your name and who you represent. So having said that, the first item on our agenda for tonight, Michael Marinas of Insight Engineering, a notice of intent for property at 47 Rockland Road. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
It's a vote. Is anyone here on behalf of the applicant for 47 Rockland Road? You want me to speak louder, sir? Is that better? All right. Okay. Mike, is anyone here on behalf of the applicant for 47 Rockland Road? Well, if they do show up, then we will take this matter up later. If they don't, the matter will pass for tonight's meeting. We have other business to attend to in the meantime. Under other business, we had an enforcement order issued for 7 Maria Avenue. Is there anyone here on behalf of the owner or applicant for 7 Maria Avenue? So this is a matter where we made a site visit several weeks ago. We determined that a notice of intent should have been filed regarding some conditions at the property. None was filed with us. An enforcement order was issued to the applicant, and the applicant was instructed to appear at tonight's meeting. Seeing that the applicant is not here, what I'd like to propose is to send a letter to the applicant. Mr. Goodman, advise him that notice of intent will be due, or was due as of tonight's meeting, and that his failure to submit a notice of intent prior to our next meeting on June 12, 2024, may result in the imposition of sanctions, including fines. So may I have a motion to that effect, please?
Motion that we instruct the person to come in front of this board.
Yours isn't working.
No, it's not.
Actually, in the last letter, didn't we say that he had to have it by this meeting?
Yeah.
So why don't we put in the letter that if he doesn't have it by next meeting, that there will be fines?
Well, we can vote on fines at that time, is what I'm saying to you.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So there's Tom's motion, and do you have a second?
Yeah.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? It's a vote.
He's been to that rodeo before.
Then, it's not quite 7:10 yet. The next matter on our other business agenda is 26 Albert Street. I was advised that Mr. Brown was going to be attending tonight's meeting.
I did, so I spoke to Travis on the phone earlier today. He was hoping he'd be able to call in at the end of the meeting.
All right, then we will defer that. We also need to hear from Mr. Brown concerning 50 and 190 Washington Street, so we'll wait until the end of the meeting to see if he joins us.
don't have the minutes.
Okay, we have no minutes for our last meeting, or actually for April 24th, so we will take those up at our next meeting on June 12th.
Well,
Right. Well, we are just so efficient tonight.
I know,
All right, we have to wait until 7:10.
right on it.
I believe if we want to do 47 Rockland, I think some of those guys are here now.
All right? All right. Then let's call it again. The 7 PM public hearing for 47 Rockland Road. Gentlemen, are you here to present that? Yes. Well, please step up here.
You guys can go up there. If you want to go take a seat up there, it's all nice.
Okay, can you identify yourselves, please?
My name is Kevin Kelly. I'm the CFO for the group of companies that includes 47 Rockland Properties.
And you, sir?
Joe Moscato, the local manager for the facility.
I beg your pardon, sir? I didn't hear that.
The local manager for the facility at 47 Rockland.
Where?
Michael, they should speak close to the microphone, because nobody can hear them.
Okay, you'll have to,
Speak through the microphone, not to the side, please.
Should I start? My name is Kevin Kelly. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the Arbor Group of Companies, which includes the ownership of 47 Rockland.
I'm Joe Moscato, manager for the facility at 47 Rockland.
okay, where's your engineer?
He is stuck in traffic. They left, the owner of the property, who was here the last time, Ralph Martucci, went to his office in Connecticut, and they were driving up together, and they got stuck in traffic on the way up. He told me, as we walked up here, they were about 20 minutes away.
Then in that case, let's step this back, and then we'll take you up when he arrives.
Oh,
Okay?
okay.
All right, thank you. All right. And we still have 3 minutes. Okay.
Michael, do you want to go to recess?
No.
These two items are
Yeah,
in
we
the
could,
packet.
yeah, we could do that. So in our packets for tonight's meeting were 2 notices. There was a notice from Michael Walsh to Darlene Coyle relating to sampling analysis for the Auburn Transfer Station. You'll recall that Mr. Walsh provides these to us every 6 months or so. I would ask you to just review those at your leisure. And then with respect to National Grid, they have provided us with notice regarding utility maintenance activities which actually are exempt from the provisions of the Wetlands Protection Act because they are utilities. Again, this is just to provide us with notice of where they're going to be working and also when they're going to be working.
Do we have an update on, where were they working on? Was it Leicester Street? On the poles that they were putting in, or the?
When you say update,
Update.
not that I'm aware of.
Do we have an update on weren't they putting in poles, or, I can't remember, was it Leicester Street?
Are you talking about the soil boring that they were
Oh,
going to be
yeah,
doing?
yeah, that's it.
I don't think that they've begun that. I think that they're still going through getting permitting from some of the other towns in that easement.
Okay,
But I think that they are supposed to send out, they'll be giving updates as the project, starts and continues.
okay. We have nothing else to do, I figured I'd ask.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
He is, but we're a minute away from our next, actually. It's feedback.
It's painful.
And now being 7:10, The next item on our agenda, Timothy Johnson, a notice of intent for property at 25 Vinyl Street. Is there a motion to open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's a vote.
Aye.
Is anyone here on behalf of Mr. Johnson?
I am.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for my architect, who's on his way here, he should be here any second.
Traffic in Auburn must be terrible tonight. What is happening?
All right. We'll call your matter when he gets here. So, Mr. Brown? Mr. Brown? Bueller? Mr. Brown, can you hear us, please?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right. So, Mr. Brown, there are two items on our agenda for this evening, 26 Albert Street and also 50 and 190 Washington Street. Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yes, I can.
All right. So, Mr. Brown, I have some issues regarding the failure of the applicant to designate the Hall Road on plans that were submitted to our commission when we issued the notice of intent. And I know...
Yes, I understand.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I do understand. I guess what I would say is at that time, we didn't anticipate there being work by the same applicant in Oxford concurrent with the reserve project in Auburn. So it wasn't known at that time. When they started construction on the reserve project, nobody really was aware of that access in its previous existence. You know, it was a haul road used many years ago by the previous developer. Those projects never got developed, obviously. So Eastland has taken the opportunity to use that access to avoid putting trucks, heavy loads, truck traffic onto, you know, Auburn, Oxford road system. So what they've been doing is shuttling material back and forth from these projects. And they will, I'm sure you folks have seen it, but they have taken the liberty to put up some silt fence to protect the wetlands. And I agree with you that that work was not identified on the approved plan. What I said to Jesse a couple weeks ago was that if we can amend that order of conditions, I think that's probably the best path, unless you folks disagree. But I think that would be the best, you know, path moving forward to include this work. I'm not sure if there's issues on your end with, you know, impacts to resource areas. Obviously, they're within the buffer zone, haven't disturbed any resource areas themselves, but.
Did you see the enforcement order we issued in this matter?
I did not. I have not seen that. And I know there was some confusion with the address for Eastland Partners. So from my understanding, it may have got sent to the old address. So I have not seen it.
All right. So these are my issues, Mr. Brown. The company that's building the reserve is a sophisticated developer. Once they learned that they knew they were going to use the Hall Road, I think it stands to reason that at that point they should have notified the commission. In fact, we were notified by Gary Allard after, and I frankly don't know how Mr. Allard found out, but it's our understanding that that Hall Road has been used for several months and was used for several months before we received notice that it was being used. There's no question in my mind, unless you choose to disagree, that that road is jurisdictional. There are wetlands on both sides. Based on our investigation, siltation had also gone into the wetlands. And so under our enforcement order, which we are happy to provide to you, and which was actually returnable on May 8th, and I understand that was an issue with the property owner receiving it. We actually asked for a restoration plan to be filed with us, and our observations indicated that silt had infiltrated the wetlands. So to your point, or in response to your question, I think, or statement, we believe there has been an environmental impact. And what I'm also disturbed by is that there's no question that the failure of the property owner to notify us and to also propose amendments to the existing notice of intent violates our bylaws. And under the bylaws, we have the right to issue fines.
Yeah, understood. I mean, I'm
going to read it to
the
you.
developer, representing the developer, obviously. So I agree with your statement that they are within buffer zones to resource areas, and I understand your position if there's impacts to the wetlands. There are, however, wetlands only to the north. I would disagree that they are on both sides based on the approved plan, but they are within the buffer zone. I guess my question is, how do we move forward with them continuing to use the access road and get everybody on the same page with the permit and any remediation to the impacts to the wetlands? I did send a sketch of what was there after I was notified of it. We surveyed it to show the wetlands, to show, the work that had been done. Frankly, I didn't hear back from, anyone once I sent that, and then I followed up with Jesse, and then that's when we, came and he notified me about the enforcement order.
Well, the reason you didn't hear from us is because we do things by way of public meeting. And again, Mr. Brown, there's no doubt on my mind that the activity engaged in by the developer is in violation of our bylaw and also our regulations. And let me just read it to you. Any person who violates any provision of this bylaw or regulations, permits or administrative orders issued thereunder shall be punished by a fine in an amount to be established by the Commission under the Wetland Protection Regulations. Each day or portion thereof during which a violation continues or unauthorized fill or other alteration remains in place shall constitute a separate offense, and each provision of the bylaws, regulations, permits, or administrative orders violated shall constitute a separate offense. That is under Section 11 of our bylaws, paragraph F. Under the regulations, under 1.09 enforcement, any person who violates any provision of the bylaw, the rules and regulations promulgated under it, or any conditions of a valid permit shall be punished by a fine of not more than $300 per day for each offense. In the case of any unauthorized work, the offense shall be deemed to continue each day until the area is restored to the condition that existed prior to the commencement of unauthorized work. So, by my reading of the bylaws and the regulations, the language is very specific that there shall be fines, not may be fines, but shall be fines. And I think, as you know, shall has a specific meaning under law.
I would agree.
And and again, I cannot account for why why the developer here has not gotten in touch with you or has not forwarded a copy of the enforcement order. But the enforcement order, as I stated to you, very simple, we want, or what the order requested, or demanded, frankly, was a restoration plan. So we want the area restored to the way it was before that road began to be used. And that means if there is siltation in the wetland, it has to be removed.
Okay.
And that's in addition to that's in addition to any fines that we may levy. And that's something that we will, take or have a discussion about at some point. So my question to you is, our next meeting is on June 12th. When can you get us a restoration plan?
I could get you one by mid next week. I think we have all the information. Unfortunately, like I said, I haven't seen the enforcement order. I don't know if that's something you can provide me, not being the applicant.
Absolutely.
But I will try to get it from the applicant myself, assuming that they received it and signed off, and it sounds like they have. So I will turn around a restoration plan to remediate that area as quick as I can, sometime early to mid next week.
If you had to estimate, how long has that Hall Road been used?
That well, I think that Hall Road was used prior to Eastland having ownership of those properties, so it had been there before they started using it. They
But-
started using it later in the project that they're building, the reserve in Auburn. Once they had the loam stockpiled on site, they had a stockpile permit for the town of Oxford. So instead of leaving it on the Auburn site in the way of them doing, cut and fills and earthworks, they decided to move that material to the other property by use of that Hall Road. So I would agree it's probably a few months, I would say. I don't know specifically. That's the information I could try to get if it's relevant.
I think in your email to Mr. Averka, you indicated that there was an estimated 1,185 truckloads that were, carried or hauled on this road. I'm assuming that would take several months to complete, correct?
Yeah, so that number was actually saving that amount of trucks. I'm not sure how I worded it. I'm not looking at it. That's the number of regular 10-wheel dump trucks that would have gone out. They're using a much larger truck, so that number would be cut way down. However, it's probably many.
Would you say that the Hall Road has been in use since the beginning of this year?
Beginning of this year?
Yeah.
I would say so. I don't know for sure. I don't want to misspeak because I'm not there every day.
Sure. Do you think the developer has those records or can identify when that Hall Road was started to be used?
Yep, I will certainly ask the question, and I'll include that information when I provide a restoration plan.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions at this time. Michelle, do you have any questions?
Yes. Not to use the road anymore, correct?
I have not been told that to me. I mean, that should be conveyed to the applicant, and from my understanding, I believe that was said, and I wasn't part of the site walk up there, but I will mention that, make a point to, make that clear to them tomorrow.
Okay.
Any questions, Tom? No questions. Megan, any questions?
No.
Okay. Any questions from the audience? All right. So, Mr. Brown, we'll continue 26 Albert Street to our next meeting on June 12th.
Okay.
And then since we've got you on the line, you've seen the pictures from Washington Street from the rain in April?
Was that the last time that we discussed this? I haven't seen anything since I've been in to discuss the project when the enforcement order was lifted.
Well, if memory serves, we had issued an enforcement order back in February because of problems with erosion control measures. And then my understanding is that, and work was done, to the owner's credit, work was done. But apparently, whatever work was done did not take care of the problem that occurred, I guess, last month in April, where we have pictures showing whatever erosion control measures put in place were not effective at all. You haven't seen those pictures?
I have not seen those pictures.
Well, in that
I
case,
did, however, once I talked to Jesse, I believe it was last week, I did stop by the site. It was not during a rain event. I could see that there's still sediment in that basin, and I actually did speak with Eastland yesterday about a plan to clean up that basin. I'm not sure if your pictures clearly indicate where the issue is, but I believe it's confined to the basin area, because when I walked the stream was clear. There was a little bit of sediment getting out from the basin. There's an outlet structure with an outlet pipe that discharges about 25 feet out from the wetland. That's a 25-foot buffer. That seems to be the problem area. I don't know if the pictures or somebody can speak to that. But that's where I believe it's confined to, and I've told Eastland that something needs to be done with that basin because, water and everything they did upstream is good. But the minute it gets into that basin and kind of agitates, stirs up sediment that's getting through that outlet structure. So I did not see pictures. I did visit the site, like I said, not during a rain event.
Well, we'll make arrangements to get those pictures to you, and I think we would expect to see some sort of remedial plan for Washington Street again at our next meeting on June 12th.
Okay.
All right?
Yep, I will provide you that.
Any other questions? Michelle?
I don't.
Megan, any questions?
No.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Brown, thanks for joining us this evening, and we will see you on June 12th.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right,
Before we close, though, should we get them a copy of the enforcement order before they leave?
well, we haven't closed anything,
Okay, I know that.
so we'll make arrangements. We can talk about
Okay,
it
all right.
afterwards. All right. So, Mr. Johnson, are you ready to proceed for 25 Vinyl Street? Yes. All right, please come up. Okay. Can you both identify yourselves by your names, please?
Tim Johnson, owner of 25 Vinyl Street.
All right.
I'm Jay Gallant, architect working for Mr. Johnson.
All right. Why don't you proceed?
So this is a previously developed property with a single-family house on it. And there, we have copies of a proposed plan. I also have an existing conditions plan that you should probably see.
All right. Mr. Johnson, did you give notice to abutters?
I did.
Yeah, I received that earlier today.
I can share.
No, it's all right. I've got,
I can't see, so I'm
All
going
right.
to take the big one.
I have another copy.
I mean, I have limited room here, so I'm good. Thank you.
Have you guys been to the property?
We were earlier, when there was some clearing done. I think we actually issued an enforcement order because we had not received notice. So have wetlands actually been delineated on this plan?
Yes.
And show me where those are.
So there's these numbered
Okay.
things here.
And who did that?
Ecotech in 2020.
All right, so we don't have a recent report. I don't think we have a report from 2020 for this property, do we? Jesse?
Have what?
Do we have a report from Ecotech for 25 Vinyl Street from 2020?
Not that I'm aware of.
So we need that. Okay, so why don't you proceed?
Okay, so we'll get you the report, but we've got the wetlands delineated, we've installed erosion control as shown on the proposed plan, which essentially we just kind of went along the edge of the wetland here and the edge of the wetland over here. And here's the existing house. And the driveway, so basically Vinyl Street ends here.
Right.
Tim's installed a fence to keep people off the site, and it's right about at the end of the road, at the beginning of the property.
It is.
And then the driveway continues right to the house, essentially.
Yeah, we've walked this site, and I'm aware of the house there. Okay.
Okay, great. And then so the proposed development, which we could talk about, is shown on this plan. So for reference, the house is that little box.
Okay.
And so you've got your 100-foot buffer, your 50-foot no build, and your 25-foot no disturb, shown for both of the wetlands. So the majority of the work will be outside the 100-foot, but of course we have to get through it to get to the site. And so the idea is 21 buildings, 42 residential units.
Duplexes.
Arranged as such, duplexes. yeah.
All right.
Arranged as such around a driveway, basically, looping back and back in the same way. As you can see, the challenge, of course, is the site pitches towards here.
Towards the
The entire site pitches towards this wetland. So, you know, we've got stormwater management that we're working with. And,
So who, you work with an engineer regarding the stormwater management?
yes,
That's
we're
this, right?
working on that now.
So you don't have that done yet?
The report's not done.
Okay,
The design is, you know, as you can see, in process.
understood. Where are you with regard to the planning board? Or do you have to even submit this to the planning board?
I think we probably are subject to site plan review.
Okay, so that process hasn't been started yet?
Well, no, because we're working on the stormwater reports and
Okay.
We're told to speak with you also.
And when do you think those are going to be ready?
about a month,
Okay.
give or take.
Give or take. So we need to continue the hearing.
Yes.
So-
So what we'd like to do, so the house that's there is a hazard.
Okay,
We've submitted a demolition permit, and we want to remove it.
okay.
It's not really, we've got the erosion control installed, and the house is pretty easy to remove without disturbing anything.
Are you within 100 feet of the buffer zone?
So your 100-foot buffer is...
Is this
oh, wait,
one?
I'm sorry, it's this line right here.
Oh,
That one.
yeah.
So the house is within the 100-foot.
Okay,
Oh, it is within.
It is within the 100-foot, yeah, see it right there. So it's, you know, about, at its closest point from this particular wetland, I guess from both of them, it's about, what, 70 feet from both wetlands.
so, well, the way since you're not ready to submit really on the can I call it a subdivision or
Yes.
just, all right. What you probably should need, what you should do is file a request for determination of applicability to take down the house. And then I would actually submit that as a separate filing, and then we can act on that, because clearly it's too early for us to act on the subdivision. So that's what I would say about that.
Can I ask a question to Jesse?
Sure.
So we were told that there's already a request for determination of applicability and a negative determination or positive
There was a
determination?
positive determination, but I don't believe that was specifically to take down the home. I think that was in order to, continue developing the property.
The home is currently a liability. Children go in there and they're starting it on fire.
Okay.
Somebody's going to get hurt, and it's a liability for me personally.
I understand that.
I got you.
But there's a right way and a wrong way to do things.
Yeah.
And the right way to do this is to file a separate request for determination with respect to that existing structure alone. You can submit it to us for our next meeting, and then we'll act on it. I mean, I don't see that as a big issue.
We also, in that same request for determination of applicability, we'd also like to consider, or like you to consider, the possibility of working on the site a little bit outside the 100-foot jurisdictional buffer
To do what?
to
Yeah,
determine
what are you
soil
looking-
conditions, start to clean up the site a little bit, rather than just kind of leaving it there.
You may want to consult with someone like Ecotech on that, So, I mean,
You're going to have to do some site work if you're taking the house down, right?
Exactly.
so put whatever you want to put in that request for determination, go ahead and do it. I think you've got enough time before our next meeting to get it filed, and then we'll act on that. With respect to the notice of intent, though, for the subdivision, are you looking at a date in late July or even August? Well, what's your preference?
Preference is ASAP, but we need to have the proper information.
Right, I understand that. How about the second meeting in July?
Decent target.
Or, we can do first meeting in July.
Terrible.
But we're probably not gonna make that one. We could try. I mean, could we continue it at that time? Of
course.
Maybe we should do that.
What's our second meeting in July?
I don't know off the top of my head, but if anything changes, you guys can
But
always...
Jesse, I expected you would. No, it's all right.
Should we target the first meeting in July and then?
You can target the first, and if it's not going to work, you can just get in contact with
So
me. That's
actually,
not
our
an issue
first,
at all.
our first meeting in July is July 10th. All right? And if you're not ready on July 10th, then you can just,
But the RDA, could we do that on June 12th?
yeah, just get it done and submit it. All right? So you agree to continue the public hearing to July 10th on the notice of intent? All right, sounds good.
And we'll act separately on the RDA when we submit it.
Yes. All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Actually, I have a quick question before.
There's a question.
For the notice of intent,
Hold it.
are you planning
There-
on
Bring it back, 'cause otherwise
redelineating
I
the
can't hold it.
wetland?
Megan, we can't hear you,
Okay, can't hear me?
barely.
Are you planning on redelineating the wetland?
Are you planning on
Delineating
delineating the lot?
The question is, since the last time the wetland was delineated was 4 years ago, do you intend to redelineate it?
We could if we need to.
Well, I think we need to see Aquatech's report from 2020, okay?
We'll get that to you
As soon as possible.
tomorrow, but yeah.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So can I have a motion to continue the public hearing for 25 Vinyl Street to July 10th?
Before we continue, do we want to see if anyone's here regarding?
Sure. Is there anyone here with regard to 25 Vinyl Street? Okay. Can you, ladies, can you come up? Okay.
Nowhere near you. So the hill is very faded back there. We're trying to stay down in the flat. So you want to stay below that? Yeah, below that. Yeah. We can't really change that because of the grade. So we're not going to be approaching your area by any means. Storm drain that goes into the property? Yes. Did you know that? That I am unaware of.
It goes through my neighbor's yard, through his neighbor's yard. It's in the street, goes through the neighbor's yard, and dumps down the hill.
That's not, that's not great for me either.
I know this because I grew up there and played in those woods.
Would we show this, would the town show this at all?
For the town, what?
Would they show this on any map or DPW? Or?
Yeah, DPW might have a record of it if it's something for stormwater management, yeah.
Yeah, that's news to me, so we'll have to.
They're her house too. They're all along front of my house there, but I think it goes into the woods.
The woods? Okay.
No, one was 36 or 38. There was having rain that put over. It must be a 12-inch rain.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all, like all that hill is gonna remain left wooded and kind of nice how it is, grassy. You know, so we aren't climbing up to the top of the hill with any machinery, so I'll be honest, I haven't walked up there. It's very thick and ticks are out, so I haven't gone up there yet. That will be something I need to address no matter what, just to make sure that we're not getting, stormwater onto the property.
Now, when your workers are there, where are they going to go into mines?
Going through vinyl, yep.
So they won't even go out.
They won't even go near Oakwood Ave. Nope.
And then I know that there are coyotes back there and red foxes, and there's also a black bear that lives back there. I mean, we see them. Yeah. There's deer. There's all kinds of wildlife back there.
Yeah, I mean, the property does consist of almost 13 acres, so we're proposing to use about 5.5 acres. So
You're going towards what?
we're going more, it's basically, if you look back there now, it's very cleared out right now. What the basin is, we'll call it at that bowl, is pretty much where we're gonna be. We're not gonna be digging back into there. It's too expensive to do walls, and we're not gaining anything. The pond stays separately. We actually have erosion control there now. That's surrounding, so we have silt fence and wattles up, so then everything's protected within the buffer zone anyway. It's 21 units, so it'd be 42 townhomes. So we're looking, yep, townhouses. It's a condo project is how they're gonna propose it, but it is, just side-by-side townhomes. It's not gonna touch you guys at all, no.
Okay, any other questions? All right, gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll ask for a motion to continue the public hearing for 25 Vinyl Street to July 10th at 7 PM.
So moved.
Is there a second? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, it's a vote. Okay. .47 Rockland Road, you ready to proceed? Please come up.
Copies of the notifications?
Yes, please, you can give them to Mr. Averka. All right, can you state your name, please?
Sure. My name is Michael Marinas, licensed professional engineer in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Okay, so describe the project to us, please, or what you've done there.
Sure. In addition with me today is Ralph Martucci, the president of the owner. 4749 Rockland is a 6-acre site with an existing 300 square foot warehouse building that was constructed in 1972. It's got a gravel access road and existing truck parking area. It's considered a pre-existing non-conforming use by the town. I prepared the Conservation Commission application and the notice of intent for the entry road stabilization and gravel parking area repair and the clearing of approximately 10 trees. I also prepared the erosion control plan that was submitted to your office. The entry road, we required stabilization, necessary silt fence and hay bale along the existing entry road to protect the adjacent wetlands. We've also previously met with town officials to discuss the next required steps in the town permitting process for this project. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. Jesse, can we put the site map for 47 Rockland Road up, please?
Yeah, sure.
I have some I have some photos that were taken prior to last month's.
Okay. Thank you.
I also want to note that subsequent to the last hearing on May 21st, we had wetlands flagged out there.
All right. Where would they be shown on the plan?
The information was just acquired 2 days ago.
All right, so are you going to submit a revised plan to us?
Well, yes, following our meetings with the town, not only will we be preparing an updated erosion control plan, we understand we're going to prepare a site plan for the project.
All right, okay. So we,
So we have the wetlands flag that was flagged 2 days ago.
All right.
The surveyor will be out there over the next couple of weeks to locate the wetlands, provide updated topo, and then prepare a site plan.
all right. So when would you like to continue this to?
I mean, we're ready to discuss what's going on there now, but with regard to the site plan, we're probably a month or two away.
All right. I mean, I think it makes sense, basically, to tackle everything at one time.
Okay.
That's my opinion,
Okay.
you know? I think we have some abutters who have some questions as well. So, but in any event, before we get to any public comment, what date would you like for a continued hearing?
My guess is that do we have a date on the survey, Kevin?
About 6 weeks out.
Oh, so 6 weeks for the survey. We're going to need another 2 or 3 weeks to meet with the town to discuss, what we're proposing to do. I'm sure there'll be some back and forth with your engineering department, so we may be,
July 10th?
that's might be aggressive, right? If we're 6 weeks away from a survey,
Okay, then how
probably
about,
looking at 10 weeks.
why don't we do this? How about if we put it down for July 24th? And then if you're not done with your discussions, or if there's a backlog, let us know and we'll continue the hearing again.
That's good.
Is that agreeable?
Yeah, that should work.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Were these taken? I'm sorry, when were these taken?
Those were taken the day prior to our previous hearing. We were supposed to meet on the 24th, so I think those photos were taken on the April 22nd, thereabouts.
Okay.
Is that right, Kevin? Somewhere in there, right? A couple days before the last hearing. Somewhere around the 20th of April.
Okay. All right. So I think there's some public comment. So if there's anyone here who has some comment about 47 Rockland Road, feel free to speak. Sir, can you stand up, tell us your name and your address?
29 Rockland Road. It's the Conservation Committee, before they do any work, they have to submit an environmental report on what's going to happen.
Well, what they're going to do is, I think if you've been listening...
No, they've already done the work.
No, sir, you have to let me finish. Use the mic.
Very close to like this?
So they're going to delineate the wetlands on the property. And when they delineate the wetlands on the property, we're going to get a site plan, and that site plan will be submitted to our board. Now, when you say an environmental assessment, what do you have in mind exactly?
Well, when they make a parking lot and they compact it, then the water runs off that into the wetlands. They've already done that. They've already had an excavator up there digging out the banking, leveling, steamroller, rolling it. They put in a retaining wall, all this without a permit. If I did that, I'd be in jail.
Well, sir, it's a good thing you're not in jail. And, but with respect to permits, those are issues you're going to address with the town, correct?
That's correct. In the photos you'll see, we've stabilized the area adjacent to the existing road. We've stabilized the slopes that were previously there. The road that I think is in question it's an existing access road. It's been there, I believe, since 1972. We understand that there's been some additional gravel brought in, and that's part of the erosion control plan that we've submitted, as well as the silt fence, which we can show you has been installed.
So, but to your point, sir, we're going to continue the public hearing because we need more information to be submitted by the applicant.
All I'm saying is they've done a lot of work already. The pictures that they showed you that were taken prior to the last meeting, that work has already been done.
I understand that, sir, and I think that's an issue for the town to address. It's really beyond our jurisdiction at this point.
You're the Conservation Committee.
But sir, to the extent that there's been any impact on the wetlands, we have the ability to issue enforcement orders, and we have the ability to fine people too. So, sir, this is on our radar. It's going to be on our radar for at least the next few months, and we will act accordingly.
So before they can go to the building department to get an occupancy permit, they have to go through you.
It doesn't work like that exactly, but I know Mr. Allard is certainly very well aware of this property and this project, and so you'd have to address any concerns you have regarding permits. You can speak to Mr. Allard about that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sir, your name and your address. Yeah, we can hear you just fine.
Okay. Tim Daly, Rockland Road. Our concern is that, like I think what Rich Sick says, the work has already been done. The road's already been widened. So I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense that we've already done the work, and now we're looking for permission. It's kind of the horse leading the cart, or the cart leading the horse. They've already widened the road.
So, sir, our jurisdiction is limited to 100 feet within the wetlands.
Right, I understand that.
And if you've heard what the applicant said, the wetlands have to be delineated. I don't disagree with you that there were things done before we received notice. All I can say to you is that it is on our radar. we will take a very, and we have already been out to the property, just so you know. And we'll make sure that the work that's done there or has been done complies with the Wetlands Protection Act and our bylaws and our regulations.
I understand what you're saying, but from our side of the fence, they're asking permission for something that has already been done. The road's already been widened. So how do we know that, are you gonna make them put the road back where it was and make it a small cart road like it used to be? No, I'm not being a smart guy, but that's what's already happened.
Sir, again, you're talking about permitting that is really beyond the scope of our jurisdiction, our authority. And that's why I'm going to suggest to you, if you should bring these concerns to the building department.
We already have. But what I'm just saying is that is a wetland area, and they've already disturbed the wetlands before they get permission to do what they're doing.
Do you have proof of that?
Yes.
What proof? No, I'm serious.
Me too.
What proof do you have?
Just walk the road.
What proof?
The road's already been widened. I've lived there for 40 years.
Sir.
It never looked like this.
Sir, there are wetlands that are adjacent to the road. If you're telling me that by widening the road, wetlands were filled, then that's a violation of our bylaws and our regulations.
Okay. That's what I'm asking.
And we have the ability to fine, and we will fine. So if that, I don't know if it's happened or not. And, we need more information. We believe that these gentlemen will be acting in good faith. If there's evidence that they're not acting in good faith, we have remedial measures that we can take. We can hire a consultant. We can have soil borings done. We can have the wetlands analyzed. And again, sir, if you have evidence that wetlands have been filled in, by all means provide it to us. We're very transparent, sir. We are here to make sure that projects are done according to the law. We play no favorites. We really don't. We want to make sure that the law is complied with. If you have evidence that the law has been violated, provide it to us.
I understand that. I understand the whole thing. Our point is that all the work has been done, and now we're looking for permission to do it.
Can't.
Correct? Am I not understanding? Jesse, am I not understanding?
We'll be back.
Well, I think, and if I can, through the chair, I think
you would.
that what Mr. Garland is saying is that we want to wait until, we can see those wetlands delineated and get kind of a full scope understanding of what's happened there. And I will mention to you, and I'll show you, I took these pictures, I think before the ones that you guys are talking about, but this was during a day where we got heavy rain. They're going to take a second to load, and you can clearly see here, this is from, and this is right behind that parking lot that you guys are talking about, where clearly a lot of fill had been brought in. And then this is kind of where the wetland runs at the bottom of it.
It's bottom of the slope.
You can see that, water was carrying sediment down towards the wetlands, which is something that we took note of when we went out to the site.
Okay.
So I think we are, we're well aware of these problems. I think that it's just in everyone's best interest to wait until it's, completely delineated and we really know exactly what's going on before we, take those measures.
And my last question, I'd like to address the gentleman. What agreements have you had with the town? Can you answer that? For the use of the property?
Well, we met with the town. I've been in 2 meetings with the town engineer to discuss what needs to be done out there.
Okay.
In order to provide them with what they need, we need to first delineate the wetlands, which was done on May 21st. Then we need to survey the property. Then we need to meet with the town to come up with a solution to how the property is eventually going to be developed, curbs, drainage, et cetera. We need to make site plan application. There's a special use permit that's going to take place. So there's several more steps that need to take place. This is the first one. As soon as we were aware that there was an issue with regard to the existing entry road, I'm sure you've seen the silt fence and the sediment barriers that have been put down.
So my question is, do you have any agreements for the property now with the town as far as using the property? Are there any special agreements that have been made with the amount of trucks and all that?
We have to go through the process. There's no, and it's an existing non-conforming use, like I stated before. The building's been in use since 1972. It will continue to be in use, but we need to go through the process with the town to get the permits that are necessary in order to do what they want to do.
Okay, because it used to be a warehouse. You're not running it as a warehouse anymore. You're a transfer station. And you are not running that property as a warehouse.
Make it clear, we're not a transfer station.
Oh, yes, you are.
There is a legal definition of land use, transfer station versus warehouse, which has all been discussed with other boards beyond the scope of this one.
So
There have been conversations with what the actual use is and what's permitted.
are you aware that we're having 20 to 25 trucks a day go up and down Rockland Road? At all hours of the day and night?
I don't know what was previously there. I can't speak to that.
Nothing. Nothing's been there, right?
I don't know what was there 20 years ago.
So that's what I'm just asking. Do you have an agreement with the town?
There is, so like I have said to you guys, in the future, they will have to go through planning board and potentially the zoning board of appeals as well. And those are the meetings where the use and the hours of operation and things like that will be determined. Unfortunately, all we're here to discuss tonight is just the impact on the wetland resource areas. But, you know, obviously, notices will be sent out. I'm sure you guys will be well aware of when we have those meetings, and
I guess
that's a great time to, you know, we like having abutters there. You guys are going to be the ones living next to it, so obviously make sure you're heard at those
And I
meetings.
guess my point, if it's going to take 8 weeks to get all this done, we're still going to be having 20 to 25 trucks from 6:30 in the morning until 10:30 at night, depends on the time. That's still going to continue. And that's not really fair to the residents of Rockland Road.
So, sir,
Yes.
those concerns that you have, this is not the right board for that. So by all means, you know, obviously, sir, you're very articulate. You know how to express yourself. Talk to Gary Allard. Talk to Mr. Kazanovich about it, please, to allay your concerns.
That's fine.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, gentlemen, so we're going to continue this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Dick Chandler, 35 Rockland Road.
Yes, sir.
In regards to this meeting here, what is the procedure that you usually use for notifying the abutters?
How did you notify the abutters?
There was mailings, and I know you
Yeah,
posted in...
there's certificates of mailing that, you know, I looked through. There's one for every, you know, we get our abutters list from the assessor's office. Every abutter listed on that was notified with a certificate of mailing, you know, proof that it was sent out from the post office.
And how was that proof returned?
I gave copies of all...
Yeah, so...
Property on Brook Road also. And I've come before this committee 3 times. In each of the 3 times, I have had to have a list, official list from the assessors.
Right.
I have to send letters, a registered letter, return receipt requested, all right? And at the meeting, through the chair, they confirmed that all abutters were notified and the returns came back. Is there a list from the assessors showing who those abutters are?
There should be.
Yes, there is.
And where is that?
It's in an envelope right there, along with all of the slips that prove that he sent the mail out. The reason that we've gone away from, I don't know what it used to be, but sometimes when you require return receipt, you know how it is. They'll try twice, and then it just goes back to the post office. So if we were to require that for every single abutter, a lot of these meetings would be postponed for months and months while we're trying to figure out a way to notify people. So we just require that there's proof that, you know, someone went and sent that notice to their legally registered, you know,
Leave it up to
abutter
the mailman
location.
to make that decision.
What?
You leave it up to the mailman to make that decision? That he left this in my box?
If there is proof from the post office that it was sent, then yes, that, I believe that satisfies the abutter
What do
requirement.
we have for proof from the post office?
I'm sorry, what?
What do we have from the post office that is showing proof that this letter was delivered to me?
Are you saying it wasn't, sir?
What's that?
Are you saying it was not delivered to
I'm
you?
holding it in my hand.
Okay,
I want to know how they know that I got it.
okay.
And without a certified letter with a return, there's no way of knowing. And I want to see if all the abutters were notified.
I'm assuming Chandler Richard, 35 Rockland Road.
That's correct?
So it's here.
I know, but who?
You can see it. That comes from the post office. You can pay extra to have it, you know, kind of shown as dedicated mail. Hey, I went tonight and sent this. You know, not something you just drop in the mailbox. You bring it to the post office and then you get that back.
All right.
And I
in regard to having this public notice published in the local newspaper, it says at the bottom of the letter that I received, it would be available on May 15th, 2024. I have a copy of that newspaper here, and it was not in the paper. So there might have been another 20 people from the surrounding area who would have enjoyed being here tonight.
So I can't account for why it wasn't published in the paper on May 15th. I don't know. We will look into that. I think that the three of you gentlemen have expressed your concerns very clearly and articulately. So, and Mr. Chandler, I take your point. I get it. Notice is important, absolutely. And a certificate of mailing is a representation, generally under the pains and penalties of perjury, that service of a document or notice has been made. And Mr. Averka just showed you copies of slips indicating that there was a mailing done. So,
Also, as far as the wrong date in that notice, I believe that's an error of my own. This was continued from the last meeting. So it was posted, it was posted initially, I believe you guys were at that first hearing when we didn't have a quorum. So then we re-advertised. Then at the next meeting, we decided to open and continue so that we wouldn't have to waste the town's budget on publishing it again when it was, already put in the newspaper multiple times.
Don't get me going on wasting money. Is there anyone here tonight from this Auburn Sewer Department?
from the sewer department?
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, the Auburn Sewer Department pumping truck has been down at the end of Brook Road 3 or 4 times a day for the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Pumping out the final manhole, looking for a source of debris, tar, stones, old building material. That's right from the superintendent of the sewer department. He told me that the day I spoke to him last, they were hopefully going to find the source of this material coming in and put a camera up. He suspected that a manhole of some area was disturbed by their excavation up on the top of the hill. I wanted to have him here tonight, hopefully, to confirm or deny that that was the case. The little tail race next to my house turns chocolate brown every time it rains. It pours right down the yard.
So, Mr. Chandler, I mean, I don't know what the sewer department has done. No one contacted us about appearing at tonight's meeting. You may want to reach out to them. And if in fact they conclude or they determine what the source is of that material, hopefully they'll notify you where it's coming from.
I might be able to shed a little bit of light on that for
Please.
you. We did a survey. There was a survey done way back when. We're getting the survey updated for the purposes of the site plan application. There's a couple of manholes that were buried previously. The owner of the property sent equipment out to help the DPW locate the manholes. So if you see any equipment out there, the purpose of it was for us to aid DPW in finding the manholes so that way I can put together a clear picture of the property. So we're making every effort to go out there, locate all the utilities so we can determine where things are just in case connections do need to be upgraded.
Okay, and those manholes will show up on the site plan.
There are, yes, the approximate locations are shown on what I submitted because we had old information, but we're trying to locate them presently and get invert elevations, et cetera, for the purposes of the site plan application that's pending.
They also show up on the original installation sewer department plan.
Agreed, yeah, and we're trying to, we were out there
I'm
with
guessing that there's a
DPW trying to
few of them
locate
up
the
on
manholes.
the leveled parking area down some depth that have been disturbed, and material is just washing right in there.
Yeah,
That's what happened with the oil spill 3.5 years ago.
right. 3.5 years ago is the prior owner.
But in the meantime, when all this work is going to be done, can we stop the operation?
What do you mean stop the operation?
Yes.
You're asking,
For permit to operate, so why can't we just stop and then they'll get the work done and come back here into the planning board, the Board of Appeals, whoever needs to be, and start from square. We don't even know what they do there.
sir, we don't have the jurisdiction to do that.
They're working backwards completely.
Your point is well taken, sir. Any other questions? All right, so gentlemen, we will see you on July 24th, and if,
Another notification required? Do I have to do another round of mailings for the next hearing?
no,
Okay, July 24th?
July 24th at 7 PM.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Can I have a motion, please, to continue 47 Rockland Road to July 24 at 7 PM?
I move to continue 47 Rockland Road to July 24th at 7 PM.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 It's a vote. Okay. Is there any other business? There being,
Make a photocopy.
There
of that. I
being
just need to
none.
Hold on to it for now. Yeah.
there being none, is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's a vote. Thank you, everyone.